Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Surprise Jab Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Ruger, surprising you with new topics every single week and jabbing you with your daily dose of UFC. And we're finally back. I feel like it's been forever since I recorded an episode. I think it's only been a week, but I was sick over the 4th of July weekend. I didn't even get to enjoy it, guys. It was very sad. It was very unfortunate, but we're all healthy now. We're all healthy, we're all better, and we're ready to deliver another amazing episode 102 of the Surprise Jab Podcast. And we got a lot of fun stuff on tap today, including the final thing we're going to be talking about on today's episode is, of course, a full card preview and predictions for UFC Denver. That's right, we're back with UFC. We didn't have UFC last weekend, and we've been rewarded with just an amazing UFC Denver card. I hope you can catch the sarcasm in my voice. We also have book reviews. We're going to be talking about the latest book I just read, a bunch of movies I saw, maybe even a new video game I played. Of course, looking at some new discussing film news, looking at Money in the Bank. I mean, we have so much stuff to talk about on today's episode. And it's just good to be back, guys. Good to be back. The summer is halfway done. Halfway done in less than a month. I think actually a little bit over a month. I'll be moved into college and I'll be beginning my senior year. It goes by just like that. So quick, so fast, but it's been fun. Been a good summer. Internship is going well. Let's not delay. Let's get right on into all of the action. And of course, we kick things off with every episode, essentially, with some new UFC fights, new UFC news. And if I'm being honest, there's a bit too many monumental announcements. It's been pretty mediocre, but we do have some fun ones that I want to touch on. First off, going down at UFC, actually, I don't even remember when the last time we recorded was. I'm actually having a little bit of trouble because I'm trying to think. Did we mention Michelle Paris take on Anthony Hernandez? I think we did. So I'm actually going to go to the UFC Paris main event going down September 28th at the Accor Arena in Paris, France. The number 10 ranked lightweight Renato Moicano takes on the number 12 ranked Benoit Saint-Denis, the Frenchman himself, the God of War, his nickname. Absolutely an amazing matchup. Excited for this one. Renato Moicano coming off a big win over Jalen Turner at UFC 300. I did not expect him to win that, especially after he got dropped in round 1, but came back to submit him. And Benoit Saint-Denis, I mean, he's 13-2 professionally. He's 5-2 in the UFC. All of his fights, besides one, have been ended. He's ended all of his wins. All of his wins are by finish. And his 2 losses, one is to Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos on short notice, up an entire weight class. All right, that was over 3 years ago. And his other one was to Dustin Poirier, and he has staph infection going in. So Benoit Saint-Denis, one of my favorite fighters on the roster. I'm excited to see him fight. Should be a very good matchup whenever he squares down. Also going down on that Paris card, unranked lightweight action between Fair Ziam, of course the hometown nation, whatever, of France, takes on Matt Frivola. Matt Frivola, of course, he actually holds knockout wins of Jalen Turner and Drew Dober. Both Jalen Turner we already mentioned. He's in the top 15 at lightweight, and Drew Dober, he actually fights tonight. He's in the top 15, or he might have actually just gotten bumped from it, but he's equally as good. And as for Fair Ziam, I mean, 15-4 professionally. He's only had 2 losses in the UFC. Super talented. That is a great matchup for that Paris card. I'm very excited to see that whenever that ends up. Hopefully it occurs, I should say. I was going to say whenever it happens, because some of these fights, they don't have announcements by them. I'll tell you what I am interested in. I don't believe we talked about this fight, but Li Jingliang is returning after 2 years to take on Carlos Prates at UFC 305 in Perth, Western Australia, of course, in August. Carlos Prates is 2-0 in the UFC with just 2 of the best knockouts I've seen. I mean, he put Charles Radke out with a body shot, put Trevin Giles out with a nasty left straight. I mean, this guy is super talented. 19-6. I think 18 or 17 of those wins are by finish. Li Jingliang, 19-8 professionally, legend of the game. He actually holds wins over both fighters in our co-main event of this fight. Now, Leach hasn't had the best luck as of late. Unfortunately, has not been able to get a fight, just cancellation after cancellation. But you know what? He's going to be fighting at UFC 305, hopefully. Well, I'm really hoping that fight comes to fruition. And one last fight that I'll specifically touch on is actually going down at UFC Denver. It was made today. So today is, I'm recording this on Wednesday, July 10th. The card is July 13th. It was just announced today that Evan Elder is taking on Darius Flowers in a welterweight bout. So that's going to be probably the first fight we talk about on our Denver predictions. but I just thought it was crazy that fight was made 3 days before the event is actually going down. I mean, I don't understand. Obviously, this is a weak card. I think we can just get that out the way. This is a very weak card. But yeah. A lot of other big fights I'm sure will be announced soon. But other than that, nothing too much. No new locations have been revealed where fights are going down. I mean, there've been some interesting news recently. I mean, if anyone saw Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal boxed this past weekend, Nate Diaz won a majority decision, and Nate Diaz, he looked good in that. Jorge is now yet to win a single matchup of any form of MMA since winning Fighter of the Year in 2019. He went 3-0 with 3 finishes in 2019. Since then, lost to Kamaru Usman in 2020, lost to Kamaru Usman in 2021, lost to Colby Covington in 2022, lost to Gilbert Burns in 2023, and is now lost to Nate Diaz in 2024. So tough stuff there. Makes me sad. Not really. Jorge Masvidal's kind of become unlikable as of late. But in Nate Diaz news, other than his boxing match, Dustin Poirier recently revealed in an interview on the Ariel Helwani show that he actually agreed to step in to fight Nate Diaz at UFC 279. But apparently, because if anyone knows about UFC 279, Nate Diaz was supposed to take on Hamza Chimaev, and that fight kind of fell apart. But unfortunately, he showed up too much on weight. He was only on weight. He was at like 176. He weighed much more than Diaz. So they were like, you know what? You could always fight Hamza Chimaev. And Dustin Poirier's like, no, I will fight Nate Diaz. So I don't really know what happened with that. You know, Dustin Poirier is talking about all that stuff on his morning show with Ariel Helwani, however you want to put it. Other than that, Johnny Walker, of course, light heavyweight. Everyone loves Johnny Walker. Super fun. He recently said that he actually declined an offer to fight Alexander Volkov, at heavyweight because he didn't want to bulk up. I'm glad he didn't. He would have gotten knocked out so brutally. It would have just been tough to see, if I'm being honest. But it's good to know that he's kind of knows that he should move up to heavyweight, that his time at light heavyweight is coming to an end. But, yeah. That's all the UFC news we've really got. I was reaching on this episode. There wasn't much to talk about. Not too much news. Since, I'd say since we last spoke. I mean, just in general, no real jaw-dropping announcements. I'm sure they'll come soon. I'm very sure they will come soon. And I'll tell you what else is coming soon. It's already came, and that is The Beekeeper. It has came out on DVD, Blu-ray, digital, the American action thriller film starring, of course, the legendary Jason Statham. And this movie, let me tell you guys, it surprised me. That's right, we get a little movie review time, The Beekeeper. So, essentially, the plot of this movie, let me explain it to you. The main stars of this film, Jason Statham, stars as Adam Clay. He's like this just CIA, dark ops guy, kills everyone, no one can beat him. There's also a detective tracking him, Emmy Raver Lampin. She's in The Umbrella Academy on Netflix. Great series. She's kind of like this detective. Her mother dies, and she's trying to, find Jason Statham because he's somewhat connected to it. And Josh Hutcherson is the main villain of this film. That's right, Josh Hutcherson. PETA from Hunger Games is the main villain in this film, which I think is super funny. So basically, the movie starts off. Jason Statham has this lovely neighbor named Eloise. She's older, and she manages people's money accounts. She manages a big charity, and these hackers, they somehow are able to get her information. They convince her to wire them, give her bank account information out, and they steal all of her money. And she lost $2 million out of a charity, and she commits suicide. It's very sad. And Jason Statham finds her. And then, of course, who was it? Emmy, I was just mentioning, the detective from Umbrella Academy. She finds Jason Statham. She's like, oh, you killed my mother. But it turns out, they find out that he didn't. And he's kind of like, you know what? I kind of want to go out for revenge. So he goes to the place, the building where he was able to track where the illegal wiring came from. And he completely kicks everyone's you-know-what and burns it down and blows it up. It was super entertaining. And then, he's like a beekeeper now. He takes care of bees. Like, there's so many bee puns in this movie too, which is super funny. And these bad guys come to find him. They break his like beehives, and he kills all the bad guys, obviously, and then just goes on a path of vengeance that is so entertaining. And I won't reveal the twist, because the twist about like who the villain, who Josh Hutcherson really is in the film, I found it super interesting. It's like a twist that you're kind of like, oh snap! Like, it's not gonna completely change the movie, but it kind of makes you go, okay, that's interesting. Great ending. Obviously sets it up for more films. Could just be a one-off, but Jason Statham kicking bad guys left and right is just, I mean, what more could you ask for? What more could you ask for with Jason Statham? Currently has a 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb and a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, 53 out of 100 on Metacritic. It's pretty much, I saw this movie was in theaters, but this is a perfect movie to just watch when it's a rainy day, you know, maybe if it's a sunny day, you just need a show to watch. It is entertaining. I found it pretty entertaining. IGN described it as a semi-confusing script and heavy-handed direction from the director, David Ayer, which muddles the proceedings, but enough inspired pizzazz and Statham's earnest delivery of lines like, I protect the hive, just barely bring it all home. Hey, you know what? It may not be for everyone, but just going in, it's like pretty straightforward. Jason Statham is a beekeeper, and he freaking kills a bunch of bad guys. That's just how it goes. And does it get kind of unrealistic at some point where you're like, gosh, he's actually surviving everyone, dodging all these bullets. I mean, it is what it is, you know. But the best comparison I can make for this film is that Jason Statham is essentially John Wick, and instead of them killing his dog, they stole money from his neighbor and she committed suicide because of it. That's essentially what it is. And it works for me. I think it works for a lot of people. And my parents have watched it twice. You know, my parents recommended it, and I was like, I mean, gosh, I'm sick all weekend. I guess I can watch it. And I was getting all hyped when Jason Statham was killing all the bad guys. So the Beekeeper, I'm going to give it a 7.6 out of 10. Beekeeper gets a 7.6 out of 10. It's kind of generous, but you know what? We're a generous lad. Another movie that I watched this past weekend was Ready or Not. Very out of my, I don't really want to use the word comfort zone. That's kind of a random word to use. But I'd say out of my average movies that I watch. And my whole reason to watch Ready or Not is because I watched a trailer for Longlegs, which is like this horror serial killer film coming out this weekend, which I kind of want to see if I'm being honest. And I kind of saw this movie and I was like, oh, you know what? Let me try and get into this horror aspect of things. And Ready or Not, the plot for this movie, okay, first off, came out in 2019. Beekeeper came out in 2024. Beekeeper's brand new. This movie's 5 years old. Ready or Not, what's her name? Grace in the film, played by Samantha Weaving, amazing lead actress of this, amazing lead actress. She's such a good lead. She's marrying this guy named Alex. I can't remember what their last name for the family is. It's something kind of weird. And, you know, kind of weird family. They're rich, super rich, giant mansion. And essentially they're like, okay, you know, do we like her? Do we not like her? And they play a game. Every time someone new joins the family, they play a game, and the bride or husband, whoever's marrying in, draws a card. So they draw a card, and if it's hide and seek, then the person, without them knowing, has to hide, and if they're found, which is always happens, they are then sacrificed to Satan. I kid you not. That's the big reveal, not to give it away too much. It's not too much of a giveaway, but it's kind of hinted at the whole film that they're sacrificing to Satan, and that's kind of what they're doing. And there's comedy in this, which is really weird. When you have a horror comedy, there's also a bit of mystery in here, a bit of thriller, and it's good. It's a good film. It gets a 7.7 out of 10, and I guess that's mediocre. But it actually is a pretty good score on, what was it, Rotten Tomatoes, 89%, 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb. And, I mean, Grace, you just feel for her, and there's twists and turns at the end. And I'm actually going to kind of spoil this. I hate to spoil this bit, but the ending is when, you know, this whole family thought if they didn't kill her before, like, there's some, like, old family curse or something, like, deal. And they thought if they didn't kill her before, what was it, daylight or dawn, that they would all die. And it happens, and it's kind of like, they're like, oh, we don't die. and then they all start blowing up, like exploding, like, because it was like real that if they didn't kill her, they'd all die. And, you know, essentially the whole family dies. You know, she's able to survive everyone, but it is just comedy. It's absolutely comedy. There are some twists, some plot twists along the way, and it really just keeps you entertained. I'll say that's one of the big things about this film is it keeps you entertained. You're always like hoping she doesn't get caught. Everyone's kind of an idiot in the film, but Henry Czerny, Andy McDowell, bunch of great actresses and actors in this film. Kristen Brune as Fitch is super funny in this. But I mean, just the amount of stuff that Grace goes through, the main lead, Samara Weaving, is just excruciating. You know, there's some things where she's like, she gets shot through the hand, and then she's trying to climb out of like this pit, and her hand goes onto one of the spikes as she's trying to climb out, and you're just cringing. You're just cringing because you can feel the pain of her trying to get out. Yeah. So, Ready or Not, you know, a little hide and seek. This is everyone's hide and seek nightmare. Pretty good. 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. I was surprised when I just read that. I was actually very surprised when I just read that live because I hadn't really looked at it. But, yeah, very good. Ready or Not. Could they do a sequel? I don't think so, unfortunately, you know, but, you know, maybe they could do a sequel of some kind. It's not really a plot stuff there. Decent film. If you're bored, watch this. It's an hour and a half, little 90-minute movie. Never hurt anyone. I'll tell you what isn't 90 freaking minutes. What is kind of hard, 25 hours it took me to beat this, is if no one knows, I recently got a PS5. I came into it from my grandfather. Thank you very much, GPT, Grandpa Tom. And I have been dying to play this game for 6 years now, ever since I saw gameplay of it way back when. And I've currently started the sequel to this game, which is going to take me a long time. But I finally got around to playing God of War, the 2018 version, guys. And I figured I would kind of give my review of it because it is as amazing as everyone claimed it to be. It won Game of the Year in 2018, came out in April of 2018. And even though the graphics, you know, are way better in God of War Ragnarok, which is the newest game, Ragnarok, that came out in 2023, I believe, this game is just still amazing. 6 years later, and the graphics beat a lot of other games. Just phenomenal is all I can say. Just phenomenal. God of War. The story for this is amazing. As Kratos, and you know, the olden days, he was just super intense, super killing gods and stuff. He was the god of war, vengeance. But now he has a son, and you know, they're Atreus, and his wife Faye dies, and her final wish was for them to spread her ashes on the highest peak in the realms, and they journey to finally get there. And just the story is incredible. The story is absolutely incredible, and the gameplay is fun. It makes you work at times. He's got this axe, which is kind of reminds me of not Mjolnir. Whatever Thor's axe is, that's what it reminds me of from the MCU. He, of course, has his iconic blades of chaos, these two blades he throws. But man, just absolutely amazing. And it mixes in Greek mythology, which is super cool. You have all the different realms: Jotunheim for the giants, Alfheim for the elves, Helheim, which is essentially the icy land of the dead, Muspelheim, a realm of fire, which you can't really do much in Muspelheim. It's essentially just you take on different levels. You know, there's a bit of exploring there. Niflheim's also really weird. It's like a realm of poisonous fog with like a maze. You get some rewards there, but Alfheim, big part of the game. That was super interesting. Elves are some of the worst creatures I've ever had to play against in the game. My goodness, so hard. Helheim took a while. Jotunheim was like the final place you go to in the game, which was so rewarding. And the characters, man. Christopher Judge voices Kratos, and he is just phenomenal at it. Absolutely phenomenal. Sonny Sujic is Atreus, and Sonny Sujic has been in a couple of other, I believe he's an actor in a couple of other movies or something. I swear I've seen him in stuff before. He was in mid-90s. I recognize that if anyone knows what that movie is. Anything else? I swore I've seen him. He must just have a face that just looks memorable. But he was very good in this. Freya is played by Danielle Nicole Bazzuti. Magni is played by Nolan North. So a lot of voice actors. A lot of voice actors in this. I mean, if you want a full plot, I could go through the whole plot. But, I mean, it ends very well. It ends very well. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Took them 4 years. Took them 4 years to make this game, which I found incredible because it's taken GTA 6 12 years. And if I doubt, I don't want to doubt because I know Rockstar is absolutely amazing at what they do. But the fact that this game was able to be developed in 4 years, absolutely amazing. Santa Monica Studios is very good. Very good at what they do. This is a 9 out of 10 game. 9 out of 10 game. I could say 10 out of 10, but you know what? Why do I never throw out 10 out of 10s? Because I don't really think anything's ever perfect. Maybe some things are 10 out of 10, but if anything, I'd go 9.5 out of 10. I mean, one game of the year over Red Dead Redemption 2. That should tell you all you need to know. This is definitely in my top 10 games of all time. Now that I've played this, I should probably do. That might be something we can do. Top 10 games of all time. That could be something fun. No, I swear I've done that before. But God of War, utterly amazing. I encourage everyone to play it, especially if we're going to play the sequel. But 100% of this game is almost impossible. I mean, I thought I was getting to almost 50%, and I realized I was 50% for the main realm that you're in, Midgard. And I was like, holy cow, people have 100% of this game. You have my respect. You have my respect. God of War 2018. Just amazing. It's like I knew everything that would happen from 6 years ago when I watched the playthrough, and it was still amazing experiencing it for myself for the first time, which was super fun. Tell you what else is fun, experiencing things for the first time, and that's professional wrestling, guys. Before everyone comes, Zach, professional wrestling, it's all fake. Obviously, I know it's fake. It doesn't stop it from being fun. The storylines, the plots, the also fact that I loved it as a child, and I love it now as a teenager. In this past weekend, the third or fourth biggest event, you could argue, of the year went down as Money in the Bank took place in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, at the Scotiabank Arena, favorite of the UFC. 19,858 people packed the arena. And man, it was absolutely electric. I have my thoughts on everything that went down, so we're going to discuss it. We kind of dropped my predictions. I kind of dropped some predictions of sorts before going in, but we kicked it off with the Money in the Bank ladder match for, of course, the briefcase. No one knows. If you grab the briefcase, you get a contract. You can fight for a belt whenever you want in the WWE. And Drew McIntyre was in it, Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, Chad Gable, Jey Uso, LA Knight, and Jey Uso, I really felt should have won this. I think everyone kind of agrees Jey Uso should have won this. It just was an opportunity that he was on the cover. He was the biggest star going in. And they didn't give it to him. They gave it to Drew McIntyre. And aside from what we're going to talk about Drew McIntyre in a minute, if anyone watched Money in the Bank and saw what happened, this was good. Great matchup. Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, just doing incredible things. I really thought they were going to give it to Chad Gable at one point. Really thought they were going to give it to Jey Uso. They really teased it. He was really about to unclip it. And Drew McIntyre threw a ladder at him while he was on top of the ladder. Crazy moves in this. Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, I mentioned them, standouts. Carmelo Hayes just recently called up from NXT. Very entertaining. Very good at his job. And yeah, Drew McIntyre got it done. No interferences either. No interferences whatsoever. I was very surprised you didn't get this new faction, the Wyatt Six, attacking Chad Gable, or Logan Paul attacking LA Knight, or even CM Punk attacking Drew McIntyre before he won the briefcase. 16 and a half minutes. Very good way to start the show. And hey, I was absolutely loving it. Following that, I was not loving what I saw next as Sami Zayn took on Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. And Sami Zayn just refuses to lose. I do not even understand it. Braun Breaker is so over right now. I would compare him to Timothy Chalamet, if you will, of the Hollywood world. He's over. People like this guy when he's in stuff. And that's who Braun Breaker is. He's been taken over. And for some reason, they had Sami Zayn, who's a 40-year-old veteran, beating him clean, pinning him clean in just a matchup that should have been Braun Breaker's coming out party, if you will, of stardom. And no, Sami Zayn beat him clean, hits his finisher after getting beat up the whole match. And it was just, everyone was kind of like, wow, there's no way he just won. I understand they're in Canada, that's Sami Zayn's home nation. But man, man, I was not too excited about the fact that they did not give this to Braun Breaker. I do think at SummerSlam they're gonna try and give Braun Breaker the win. I hope so. Maybe do a little stipulation of some kind, false count anywhere, last man standing. But yeah, Sami Zayn retaining again, and I honestly never thought Sami Zayn should have beaten Gunther. I never thought he should have beaten Chad Gable in their feud. And now it's looking like he might beat Braun Breaker again. Who are they even building up? Like, Sami Zayn is not being built up as this unstoppable force. If anything, the whole fans are kind of like, okay, he should have been used to put over someone else. Now he's just holding on to this belt forever. So there was that. Certainly interesting. I'll tell you that for certain. Following that, we had the worst match of the evening. And what sucks about this is that there was a lot of good. There's a lot of goodness as Damian Priest, your current World Heavyweight Champion, took on Seth Rollins. And they were wrestling great. They were putting on great wrestling. Damian Priest, your champion, was looking strong. Seth Rollins coming back from an injury he had at WrestleMania. I mean, WrestleMania was in April. Talk about turning around in 3 months, 4 months to already come back. Incredible. These two were working so well until I don't even know what was supposed to happen. If Drew McIntyre was supposed to have his music hit to come out to cash in his briefcase, if Damian Priest was supposed to kick out, but Seth Rollins hit like one of his like starter up moves before he hits a finisher on Damian Priest, and Damian Priest didn't kick out. The ref counted to 3, but when his hand like hit the mat for 3, he just like brought his hand right up and was like 2-2, and everyone was like, what is going on? No one even really addressed this issue. And then Seth Rollins just looked pissed because he knew that the ref or Damian Priest had just messed this up. And then Drew McIntyre's music hits. And not even, just over an hour, Drew McIntyre had won Money in the Bank briefcase. He already cashed it in. And for the third freaking time, CM Punk cost Drew McIntyre the World Heavyweight Championship. It was so dumb. It was so annoying. It actually was just like, we just wasted the Money in the Bank briefcase. I want you all to understand the Money in the Bank briefcase is a big deal. It's like the Super Bowl's kind of bowl, but it's like winning something. It's like winning something that you can cash in whenever. You know, your ticket to stardom, okay? And we just wasted. Drew McIntyre cashes in. It looks like he's going to win. CM Punk comes out and attacks Drew McIntyre. By the way, this match was 14 and a half minutes, okay? All of this transpired in under 15 minutes. A big botch. Drew McIntyre cashing in. CM Punk costing him it. Damian Priest pinning Drew McIntyre and retaining. And it was just a cluster, you know what. And after this, I was kind of like, are you kidding me? I just watched Drew McIntyre win it when Jey Uso should have. I just watched him fail to cash in, which just wasted the briefcase. And then I just watched Damian Priest retain and Sami Zayn retain. I was very, very sad to see that. Although Damian Priest being champion doesn't bother me too much. I don't think he's beaten Gunther at SummerSlam. That's who he's probably going to fight next. Gunther's like the next big thing as well. I'd compare Gunther. Who could I compare Gunther to? Who's like a veteran? He's like a Justin Jefferson or something like that. I don't even know how to compare him to something, but not the best. Very unhappy with that, and it was unfortunate because the wrestling was looking very good. Then we get to the second to last, the co-main event, if you will, of the evening. Only 5 matches, little UFC-style main card. And we had the Money in the Bank ladder match for the Women's Championship, and this was my least exciting. I could care less. And, of course, whenever I could care less about something, it always ends up being the best. As Tiffany Stratton from Prior Lake, Minnesota, a Minnesota girl, the best-looking girl, the best athlete in this competition, in the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, wins the briefcase. Excellent booking decision. And the person that they thought we were going to have win it was Chelsea Green, and she's also someone who I would have been very happy to win it. She's, of course, Matt Cardona's wife, better known as Zack Ryder in the WWE. And Tiffany Stratton, I mean, just, wow, so over. The fans love her. She's great. I don't even know if she's a heel or a babyface. I don't know what she is. But Chelsea Green had a crazy spot in this where she tipped backwards off of the top of the ladder outside the ring through 2 tables. Pretty cool spot. Io Sky in this was hitting like power bombs off the top of the ladder, like a front flip power bomb. Naomi was like doing the splits between 2 ladders. It was crazy. I will say Zoe Stark and Lyra Valkyra, two of the kind of jobbers, if you will, in this match, they had a bunch of botches. They had a bunch of botches. Botches are mess-ups in the professional wrestling world. It's kind of awkward. It's kind of funny to see. You kind of watch a botch, you just kind of roll your eyes and go, oh my gosh, another woman messing up. But no, Tiffany Stratton winning this was very, very good. I mean, she just signed with the WWE in 2021. When she joined the WWE, she had came to the professional or the WWE Performance Institute not knowing how to wrestle. She just had the look. She had the charisma. Since then, won the NXT Women's Championship, has now come into the main roster, is your Women's Money in the Bank holder now, and we're definitely going to have her parade that contract around like it is the best damn thing, because it is. Great stuff from Tiffany Stratton. And with that, guys, we got into the main event, the big shebang, as Cody Rhodes, your current WWE champion, pairing with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, the legend, taking on the bloodline, the new bloodline, if you will, of Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga, with Tonga Loa at ringside. And it was a good match. There was good wrestling, but, I think everyone's kind of expecting Roman Reigns to return after the result was over, and he didn't. He didn't return, and that kind of left a sour taste in everyone's mouth, if I'm being honest. And also Solo Sikoa, it was kind of like an awkward finish. I think it was like Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, holding Cody Rhodes. Solo Sikoa hits his finisher, which is a Samoan spike. What is the Samoan spike? It's where he takes his thumb and he jabs it into your neck, and then you go unconscious and he pins you. It's a very goofy finisher. If I'm being honest, ain't no RKO. Let me tell you that. But yeah, Jacob Fatu, who recently joined the UFC, of course, was from the Japanese indie scene. He was phenomenal. His wrestling is off the charts. Just the moves he can make at his size is phenomenal. Longest match in the night went 24 minutes and 40 seconds. And yeah, we're setting up Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes for presumably the main event of SummerSlam. SummerSlam, the second biggest event in the WWE. That's right. I think they make SummerSlam bigger than the Royal Rumble at this point. It's pretty neck and neck. Obviously, WrestleMania's top dog, but SummerSlam's the second or third. So that was that. Money in the Bank. I honestly gave it a 2 out of 5. Both Money in the Bank ladder matches were good. The booking decision with Braun Breaker, I did not ride with. The World Heavyweight Championship match was just a cluster, you-know-what. And the main event, it was like, it was good wrestling, but when it ended, I didn't really feel like it was the culmination of a card. I look at WrestleMania 40. That felt like a culmination of a card. That was incredible. This was okay. But I will say this does get a bit of a boost up to a 3 out of 5, or if you will, 2.5, because John Cena came out unannounced. John Cena came out and announced his retirement. He announced his retirement. He said he's going on a retirement tour in 2025. He's going from January to December, looking to do 30 to 40 matches, and it's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible. He said he's going to enter the Royal Rumble, do the Elimination Chamber, go to WrestleMania. He's going to try and win the WWE Championship or World Heavyweight Championship. He's going to try and win his record-setting 17th World Championship for WWE. And, one last go. Going to try and fight some of his favorite rivals of all time. Little CM Punk, little Randy Orton. I mean, I am so pumped for it. Man, how am I getting sucked back into wrestling as a 21-year-old? I thought I gave this up when I was 10 years old. Nah, once you become a wrestling fan, you're a lifelong wrestling fan. So, John Cena, excited to see what's next for you in your career. Definitely a lot of Hollywood, but next time we check in with WWE, it'll be SummerSlam predictions, which is in like 3 weeks. So that's the next time. We'll talk about WWE. What should I cover next? I think, actually, let me talk about a book I recently read, because we've been going crazy with reading books, guys. At my internship, I read books all the time whenever I have spare time. And they've all been self-help books. They've all been very motivational, very helpful. And I recently read one called You Are a Badass Every Day by Jen Sincero. Jen Sincero, an amazing author. She gets you motivated. Let me tell you that. And I'm about to read one of her other books next week. But we started off with You Are a Badass Every Day. Literally, you could read a page in 30 seconds. It's easy to read a page, but over 200 pages, bunch of motivational stuff, bunch of stuff to change your life. And I got a bunch of notes here. I'm going to go through them, give you a full review of the book, and let me know if you guys read it, because I encourage you to, and I encourage you to leave some feedback on what you thought. So the whole premise for this book, a 9 out of 10 book I might add, is that you just got to remind yourself every day that you are a badass. And it's all about mentality. It's all about keeping that mentality that you are the top dog. You are the person. That's pretty much all we got. So it started off, and I wrote down, you have to practice continually. Wow, I can't read my own handwriting. Sometimes you have to practice continually at whatever you're doing. If you want to be good at anything, master anything, you have to practice continually. Isn't it funny how you see, I think basketball's a great example of this, Stephen Curry doing basic dribble drills all the time. They still do layup lines. They still shoot their free throws. You have to practice the basics continually to continue to improve. As well, success isn't static. Success is not a static thing. I think what I was trying to imply there is that, with success is you have to keep improving it. When something's static, it's in place. It's not going anywhere. With success, it's something you always have to improve. And that came from Atomic Habits. So thank you, James Clear, for that. I'm still remembering that from past books I was reading. As well, you have to come up with a spiritual gym. You have to make a spiritual gym. This is something you do 15 to 30 minutes in the morning. I work out. That's my spiritual gym. I kind of journal a bit, read the Bible. And spirituality could be shown through a variety of things, but most importantly is just real humbling yourself and also remembering that you are a spiritual being experiencing life. You're not some anomaly in the universe. Live a life you desire and deserve. Very important. Everyone deserves and everyone should desire a life and live it. Gosh, when I write these notes, I want you all to know it's when I I'm reading the book and I kind of go, oh, that's a nice little point there. Don't whine. Conquer fear. This is very important. I've always kind of done this, is not to whine about things. Okay, just conquer it. If you're fearful of it, whenever it comes to a speech going in somewhere, you just kind of go, what I do, sorry to get a little vulgar, I just go, well, fuck. And I just walk into a place. Whenever I don't want to do something, I just kind of do that. You know what? You don't have to cuss. I don't condone cussing. But I kind of just go sigh and just go, damn. Let's go do this. And you don't even think, you just get right in after it. You are creating your reality. Everyone creates their own reality. We've known this from the 4 agreements, is that you live whatever you think and do. You create your entire life. Isn't that something? Obviously God has planned it all out for you, but you're down here on earth and you're creating it. You're working it. Okay. You have free will, and whatever you do with that free will is very, very big. Remember to say to yourself, confidence is me. I love myself. If you think of yourself as a confident person, you'll be confident. If you think of yourself as an insecure person, you'll probably be insecure. And always remember to love yourself. As dumb as it is saying I love myself, there's some people who hate themselves. I could never hate myself. And that's not even being egotistical. That is me just being in touch with my emotions, if you could say. Fear hates when you run straight at it. That's very true. If you've ever been dealing with fears, when you go right after it, when you conquer that fear doesn't like that, because then it doesn't exist anymore. Excuses stop us from facing our fears. That was something I put down. That's certainly true. How many of us make excuses to not face our fears? I deserve and expect good things. A lot of affirmations here, just writing down things that you believe. I deserve good things and I expect to get good things, and they will come to me through doing hard work. Make a tiny little difference every day. I've been doing this since I could always remember, making someone smile, improving the world one little bit every single day adds up. The Compound Effect, another great book right there, Dan Hardy. Just doing something every day to make the world a better place. Be more positive. I think be more positive is anything. I was at work today and for my internship, and it was raining. Everyone's kind of like, oh, it's raining outside. And I was kind of like, why are we talking about rain? Why is rain the big office news? All right, let's talk about something positive. Let's talk about what we're all excited for. And it caught everyone off guard, so sometimes being positive catches people off guard. Certainly if there's a sad situation or a bad situation and you keep your calm and you look for a positive, people will get angry at that. Okay, I've seen that firsthand with people I know, but it really does wonders, being positive. Remember to stop and smell the roses as often as you can. A quote as old as time. But really, you have to think, if you're ever at a stoplight, and you're just, you're bored, you're just kind of looking down at your phone, switching the radio, look at something. Look out at some flowers. Look out at that McDonald's sign. Look out at a car next to you and just appreciate the beauty of something. It's amazing what you can do. And when it comes to smelling the roses in a more literally sense, whenever you're on a walk, stop for a second. Appreciate the nature around you. And it's certainly something I need to work at. I'm always feel like I have to be on the go, but sometimes, it's okay to stop, appreciate things. Certainly my dogs. I always stop down, pet my dogs, love my dogs. That's something I like to do. This moment is a vital part in the life I'm creating. That was an affirmation. I believe this very moment you're doing, I'm doing an internship right now. I'm reading all these books. I'm working on this podcast. It's all vital in the life I want to create for myself. Impulses only grow if you feed them. Impulses hurt us, come after us all the time. We all have impulses that we can't control, but if you continue to feed it, it will continue to grow, so you have to cut it off. It's a sin of a sort. You have to cut off the sin before it takes over. And part of that is reframing your focus on what you want and what your goals are. Would me yesterday, after I just failed to do something, gave in to do something, would they be happy with what I'm doing? You really have to think about that. And worrying does zero things was another very, very helpful note that I got. Worrying, obviously, if you ever worry about anything, it does nothing. It actually does nothing. Worrying has never done good. Maybe it's sprouted an idea perhaps, but more than not, when you worry, you overthink, and you actually end up doing what you were worried about. You actually kind of mess up. It's a real thing. A big one, I wrote this in big letters. There's no riskier risk than refusing to risk at all. Let me repeat that. It's a little tongue twister for you. There is no riskier risk than refusing to risk at all. You have to take risks in life. You have to take risks. I would not have gotten a girlfriend. I would not have gotten into college. I would not have started a podcast. I would not have gotten my internship. I would not be in such a blissful place I am right now in life if I would not have taken a couple risks along the way. Met some amazing people, lost some amazing people. There's no riskier risk than refusing to risk at all. It's better to fail than it is to never try. Turn your complaints into a positive affirmation. Befriend the unfamiliar. Set yourself up for success. Clearing the table. So, turning any complaints you have about things into a positive affirmation, such as, this is a big one, I hate Joe Biden. I hate Joe Biden. Joe Biden, obviously not the best leader. How about saying, I hate Joe Biden? Say, I'm happy I live in a country where I have the freedom to do many things. You have to look around the world. You have to look around the world at things, I don't know. Sometimes with those, even I myself, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I have to reflect on them a bit. Befriending the unfamiliar is certainly something tough. Certainly I've learned a lot of stuff. In the last year, I've done so much unfamiliar stuff, met more people than I could ever imagine. And honestly, I feel much more comfortable now that I've befriended the unfamiliar. And setting yourself up for success can sometimes include clearing the table. Sometimes you gotta just wipe everything off and start on scratch, take out a piece of paper, and do whatever you're doing on a piece of paper. Make a plan, make a sketch. That's what you're gonna do. And we're not, no, speaking of sketch, we were not talking about sketch. If anyone heard about the popular streamer Sketch, the What's Up Brother guy, yeah, it turns out he's on that OnlyFans with dudes. Yeah, we won't elaborate any more on that. Another big thing I wrote, do something today you've talked about doing forever. This one's kind of tough. Because honestly have to reflect. I'm like, what's something I've wanted to do? What's something I've wanted to try, have? And it's tough to do. And this is more for when you're having a bad day, when the life may be getting you down, is when you really got to mix it up and do something you've always wanted to do. Go visit that place. Go eat at that place. Go talk to that person. That's what you got to do. Record those aha moments. I'm great at this. Recording aha moments is amazing. My notes on my phone is just loaded with little notes. Whenever I have a good dream, a good thought, I write it down. I record a video of myself saying it, because you'll forget. You always think like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll write that down later. There will be no later. There'll be no later. Okay, you'll forget. Trust me. Some more affirmations. I am universal energy. I am love. I am a badass. And when it comes to universal energy, of course, you are a spirit of God. You're a reflection of God. God morphed us. He created us. And you are an energy to yourself. And you are love. You should spread love. Remember the last book we talked about, the 4 agreements. You should be a beacon of love. You should not be a beacon of hate, especially being a badass. Who doesn't want to be a badass? Come on. You have nothing to gain from freaking out. This one's big. Sometimes we freak out at things, and it's important to notice it, stop it immediately, and go, I'm not going to gain anything from doing this, yeah? some big things to eliminate and to fill them with. So eliminate I want. We should not have any I wants, any I shoulds, any I wish, any I can't, any I'm trying, and any I don't know. Replace those words with I choose, I can, I enjoy, I create, I love, I rock. All right? It's all about how you phrase things, Instead of going by a store, and you're seeing that giant Lego set you've always wanted since you were a kid, and you go, I wish I could buy that, but I can't do that. Fix that. Switch that around with, I can buy that one day if I work hard at it. Okay? Someone comes up to you at your job and they ask you, hey, do you know anything about this one program I'm working on? And you go, I don't know, or I can't help. I don't know what I'm doing. You can kind of hit them with, I enjoy helping. I enjoy helping. However, the answers don't come to me. The answers don't come to me for that. I'd be happy to learn, though. I'd be happy to learn. It's really when you have intention with your words, having intention with anything in general actually is a big thing from this book, is you have to have intention, right? This comes to getting riches, getting wherever you want in life, any good relationship with anyone, you have to have intention with things, especially when you set a goal to things. For this podcast, my intention is to start filming it and to start getting more guests. I have intention with that. And I am working on it. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. The answers are on their way. For whatever you're seeking, the answers are on their way, people. Don't worry. What comes out of your mouth comes into your life. That is so true. Whatever you physically speak will come into fruition one way or another. And it may creep up on you. You might be kind of taken off guard, but that's how it happens. What are some other things? I wrote down a bunch of things. I was asking you to write down like your top 5 things for stuff. I won't share all that personal hubby baloney. How determined you are determines how successful you are. That's very true. I've heard Mark Cuban, Bill Gates say that. Look at who did it and learn how. Ask for a lunch with someone. Make them a consultant. And as funny as that may sound, as simple as it may sound, one of the vice presidents at my company that I've been interning at mentioned that he meets with consultants, people in his life who he finds wise that teach him things. And certainly for someone like me trying to break into, I would say, I don't really know if I want to say like social media or broadcasting or marketing, but even the UFC or like a sports league or something, I definitely know I have to reach out to more people. I absolutely know that. It's something, but we're working at it, guys. We're working at it. Enjoy the sense of the world. Appreciate the beauty of the earth. Be aware of what angers you. Catch yourself to stop it. That's good. That's very good. And I've been working at this, guys. If anything angers me, certainly in traffic, someone driving slow, I always catch myself. My hands start to go up. I start to, maybe say something bad, and I go, you know what? I don't know what they're going through. Sometimes I drive slow myself. There's no need to be mean. Think audaciously. Think spontaneously. All right, this does wonders for me. When you're thinking spontaneously, it's going to catch people off guard. People are going to say, are you drunk? Are you on drugs? What are you doing right now? When you're thinking outside the box, when you're just loving life, you're bringing this energy, it's going to catch a lot of people off guard. Amazing quote from the book. It's impossible to hold on to the past and seize the day at the same time. If there's been anything troubling you from your past, let's say you got an ex. All right, there's a very good example. Say you got an ex-boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, and, they're stopping you from finding next. You can't move on. You can't move on, but you want to. You want to move on. You're like, I want to find a good person. I deserve a good person. Well, it'll be impossible. It'll be impossible to seize the day while holding on to that past at the same time. All right, you can't look for someone else in someone else. Okay, that's profound right there. You can't look for someone in someone else. I think you guys know what I'm saying. I kind of jumbled those words. Tell someone each day you love them. I tell my parents every day I love them, my girlfriend, my dogs. Maybe I should tell my friends I love them more. But I think it's very important. Spreading love is very powerful, very underrated, if you ask me. Success is a simple formula. It is your dreams plus your fear plus doing it anyway. And that's how you get successful. You have a dream. And maybe you have some fears that go along with it. You add those together, and then you just do it anyway. Because who cares? You only live once, guys. We're only on this earth for 80, 100 years, maybe even less if you get sick or something happens. All right, use your time wisely. Okay, start small. Start small is a big thing the book gets at. Jen Sincero is really at. It takes a baby step. takes a baby step. In the book we're going to talk about in the next episode, Baby Step Millionaires by Dave Ramsey, is going to talk about how to become a millionaire with baby steps. So very important. Everything I desire is already here. Good affirmation. You have much more than you realize. As much as everyone just wants more, you have a lot more than you realize. And, sometimes, I hear my dogs barking. Or something, and it annoys me. And then I'm alone at college, and I'm like, I miss my dogs. I wish they were here. And sometimes you have to realize, everything you really desire is already there, whether you're appreciating it or not. Especially when it comes to most people live in a pretty good-sized house, and they dream about living in mansions. It's amazing when you kind of just look around and smell the roses and appreciate what you have. Do something new. Do something new all the time. That's something I've been learning to do. Do something new all the time. I certainly do try new things a lot. Celebrate something today. Celebrate anything. A holiday of something. Google what holiday it is, what national day it is. Celebrate it. Just do anything. Keep your goal at the forefront of your mind. Never let your goals fade into the background. If you keep them at the forefront all the time, you will continue to remain successful. Reach out for support and guidance. There are more people willing to help you than you realize, especially those that love you. Your attitude steers the course of your life. If you keep a positive attitude, you'll head in the right direction. If you keep a negative attitude, you will plummet down. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. And more often than not, my gut is kind of Jesus talking to me. And Jesus is kind of saying, Zach, maybe you shouldn't do that. Zach, maybe you should do that. Trust your gut. That's your inner instinct. That's that voice in your head. But be careful. Be careful. Sometimes it can manipulate you. And we learned about that in the 4 agreements. Choose to forget the worry. If you ever have worries in life, just forget it. Choose to forget it. Now, currently, all right, means never overwhelmed. And overwhelmed is a mindset. Being overwhelmed is a mindset, guys. You're never actually overwhelmed with everything. Break it all down, okay? Atomic habits, break it all down into multiple things. Break it into a list. Break it up. If you break something up, it's much more easier, all right? No one eats a full pizza without cutting it. Huh? How about that? Surround yourself with high vibe people. I try and do this. I always try and be that high vibe person that I'm around. I know some high vibe people around me, but I also know some low vibe people. I know some people that bring down the vibe. Maybe I have to steer clear of them. Not going to drop any names. Fun quote from the book: you can't take care of anything or anyone if you don't take care of yourself. You only get one body, guys. Take care of it. That includes your mind, your gut, your feet, your knees, your toes, everything. Take care of yourself. Be on the lookout for intuitive hits, ideas that pop in. I apologize for reading that slowly. I don't know what word I meant to write for intuitive. I think it says intuitive. My handwriting is very bad. That's something I should improve on, my handwriting. But those hits, those aha moments, they pop in your head, and you got to be on the lookout for them. Because more often than not, it's a sign that you should be doing that. You should be doing that. Go about, there it is, about your day as if it is the last day on earth. That one's tough. That one's really tough because we kind of know it's not our last day on earth, but we don't really know. If it was actually the last day on earth, I'd be causing some chaos. But I think it's more just be happy every day. If you're unhappy, go do something happy. You could be gone tomorrow. Print out pictures of what you want and put it on your walls all around you, visualizing your goals. A great example of this is 22 Jump Street, where Channing Tatum's character put up pictures of Lamborghinis in college, and everyone's kind of like, well, why do you picture Lamborghinis? He's like, because I want a Lamborghini one day. Lo and behold, when he's on a mission later in the movie, he comes across a Lamborghini. He isn't able to drive it, but it is kind of crazy where he put a picture and it came into fruition. So it could be something powerful. Don't engage angry people. We all know angry people in our lives. There's also angry people you come across in society. It's important to not engage them because they will only cause harm. They will just cause danger. They are not people you should associate with. Here's a very good affirmation for you guys. I am a success magnet. Okay, you're a blank magnet. I am a blank magnet. For me, it's success. I want to be a success magnet. I want success to come into me and settle in. Make a habit of loving everyone. Love beats hate all the time. I think it's very powerful when people say they love their enemies. That's one of the hardest things to do. There's a lot of enemies out in the world. It's hard to love them all. It's not about giving up. It's about recharging, okay? How many times have you had a task, not been able to beat that video game level, not been able to hit that shot in basketball, and you just need to kind of go recharge, resettle, go do something else. You come back, and you hit it like the first or second try. That's usually how it works. If you keep waiting for the right time, you'll keep living the wrong life. The right time is now. All right? The right time is now. You gotta be careful. There always is kind of a right time. But more than not, when people keep saying, I gotta wait for the right time, the right time has already passed. And the important thing the book ends with is you are closer than you think. This is so important. You are closer than you think to whatever you could imagine. Most people underestimate how close they are. I know certainly I am. I look at my podcast, I'm like, okay, it's not as big as other podcasts. There's other people interviewing other people. I didn't get too many views last month. And I go, a year ago, I decided to say, screw it, and start this, Zach. You are way closer to your goal from a year ago than you are, or today, than you were a year ago. All right, and I think it's just very, very important. It's all about your mindset. It's all about staying positive, and that's what being a badass is all about. From Jen Sincero, amazing book. So many nit little picky things all around. Like, oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. It's amazing. I read it in 3 days, and I was stopping myself from reading to try and drag it out. I encourage you all to read it, and trust me, we're not done with them Jen Sincero books. Okay, let me promise you that we got a lot more that we want to read. That was kind of our entree, but we have a little side drink here before we get into our UFC Denver predictions. Of course, discussing film, 10 new things in the film and pop culture world, and I'm going to start you off with the fact that, episode 4 of House of the Dragon, pretty good, the best episode so far, a lot of action, a lot of good moments. Very happy where the show is going, and if it's going to be as action-packed as episode 4, because it was kind of a doozy heading up until that. Episodes 1 through 3 were sleeping. I was sleeping, but a lot of fighting, a lot of action. Not as good as the Battle of the Bastards. They're saying this is the best episode since Battle of the Bastards. Not true. That's one of the best episodes in Game of Thrones. Well, it really is. Really is a good episode if you've watched everything up to that point. But, very good. Very good so far. House of the Dragon coming out every Sunday. It's something casual to watch before I have to go to bed, before I have to get up and conquer the week. Number 2, I really want to find this on discussing film because I saw it earlier today. Lot of news dropping yesterday. But coming out in 2026, I believe, is Shrek 5. That's right. Shrek is freaking back. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. July 1st, 2026, the All-Star returns. Shrek is back. The whole cast too, all the same voice actors. It is electric. Love the Shrek films. Absolutely amazing. Makes me want to rewatch them all. And Puss in Boots: Last Wish was so freaking good. I tell everyone to watch that. Mike Myers is back. Cameron Diaz, Eddie Murphy, they're all back. Shrek is back in business, baby. Shrek is back in business. I could not be more happy. I could not be more happy as a Shrek stan, if you will. Amazing, amazing. Number three, Twisters is already getting strong positive reviews. Of course, comes out next weekend. Empire Magazine has it at 80%, The Independent 80%, Collider 80%, The Telegraph 100%, and Total Film 80%. By the way, all those 80% are 4 to 5s and 8 out of 10s. Is the best cinematic experience since Top Gun Maverick from 2 summers ago, says The Telegraph. If that's the case, I'll definitely be seeing it. Certainly the marketing's been very good for it, and Glenn Powell is absolutely on fire, so I'm very excited to see where it goes. It's a remake. Gladiator 2, actually that's the number 4 thing we'll talk about. Gladiator 2 is, of course, coming out late November. Saw the trailer for that. Got a little Denzel Washington action, little Joseph Quinn action, little Pedro Pascal. Looking good. I'm here for it. It has a lot to live up to. Let's not sugarcoat it. There's a lot to live up to, but I feel like it's a good place. And Paul Mescal as like kind of this new Hollywood breaking out star here. He's starring a couple big things. He seems to be reprising the role as the big good guy in the film. The what is it? The hero or whatever? I'm trying to think. I don't know. Protagonist. There it is. Number 5, Kevin Costner's Horizon 2 has had its August 16th theatrical release canceled. The studio are hoping of allowing more time to grow the audience for the first film before releasing the second. Yeah, no one's going to watch that because it looks terrible. I'm sorry, Kevin Costner. I'm sorry, Kevin. The show does not look good. The show does not look good. Okay, it looks mediocre, and the fact that they have 3 more coming after. I mean, who makes 4 movies without seeing how the first one does? Not smart. Not smart. Coming in at number 6, Ryan Reynolds on if Deadpool and Wolverine will appear in future Avengers movies. He said, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that all but confirms that Deadpool and Wolverine are going to be in the next Avengers movie. I mean, come on. Come on. That's going to be super, super exciting. And I mean, they were kind of asking Ryan Reynolds as well, like why the film is titled Deadpool and Wolverine. And he said, I mean, is it Deadpool 3? Is it Wolverine 10? Certainly seniority. I mean, he was 34 years older than me, so you want to take care of your elders. He, of course, is being sarcastic, but it's super funny. It's super funny. I'm so excited to see that movie. Not this weekend, but the weekend after. Gosh, the theater's just taking my money this summer, guys. I gotta start going on Tuesdays for $5 movies. Number 7, lucky number 7. Here, this is some lucky news. Ellen DeGeneres says she is quitting Hollywood after her stand-up tour ends. This is the last time you're going to see me after my Netflix special. I'm done. Thank goodness Ellen DeGeneres is a terrible human being. She traffics children. She went to Epstein Island. She's also terrible to anyone that works on her for her staff. We are so over. We are so over Ellen DeGeneres. She can go. She can go. Okay. Number 8, the animated films releasing in 2026, aside from Shrek 5 that we mentioned, will be Frozen 3. They're making a third Frozen. Toy Story 5. The Cat in the Hat remake of that. Super Mario Bros. 2. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. And another Airbender film. Absolutely incredible. Will I be seeing any of those? Shrek 5, yes. I don't really know about anything else. I don't really know. But it is what it is. Sony CEO Tom Rothman has asked Channing Tatum how they could make 23 Jump Street finally happen. He said the canceled script was really great. It was the perfect idea, so anything we've written other than that hasn't hit the bar. We're not going to make it just to make it. Completely agree. If you make a 23 Jump Street, it has to be perfection. It has to top the next two and kind of cap it off as a trilogy. Really does. It's a shame they never made a 23 Jump Street because 21 and 22 Jump Street are two of the funniest comedies that I've ever seen. They're so funny. They're so funny. And oh man, what should we talk about? Final one for this episode. Number 10, your newest news is that Anne Hathaway and Stanley Tucci, along with Emily Blunt and oh my gosh, Meryl Streep, are in talks to return for The Devil Wears Prada 2. David Frankel is also in talks to return as the director. I'm in. That first, I don't care if you call me like feminine or anything like that. That's kind of weird that you like a female movie, but not. The Devil Wears Prada is an amazing movie. I stand by that. And the fact they're making a second one, I'm all here for it. And as much as people go, oh, Hollywood doesn't make sequels, they can't come up with anything unique. I mean, that's just not true. It's just not true at all right? You just have to appreciate sequels for what they are. And when people talk about like, oh yeah, Dune is new. Dune freaking came out like, 2 or 3 years ago? Like, that was a brand new thing. There's a bunch of new that Longlegs movie. I mean, okay, they do a lot of sequels, but Devil Wears Prada 2. I'm hyped about that. That's something that I can get behind. I'm a Devil Wears Prada stan. Anne Hathaway, amazing in that film. I also am hoping something else is amazing, guys, and that is UFC Denver. That is right, UFC Denver going down this upcoming Saturday. Is it a good card? Who am I to say if it's a good card? Who is Zachary Ruger to say if a card is good? Clearly I am. I've watched UFC for 4 years now, and clearly I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. So, without a doubt, guys, let's get into it. Let's drop our predictions. I mean, what are we sitting at now? We're currently 163 and 106 on the year. So I like to think that's pretty good. I like to think I've been doing pretty good on making my predictions. We're coming off of a 10-3 card, actually, last weekend. What was that? UFC, not last weekend, the weekend before. That was UFC 303. Wow. Wow. Is it funny how fast time goes by? But I believe I have the betting odds for all of these. I don't know if they have the newest fight out, actually. Like I mentioned, the first fight we're going to talk about in a second. They don't have the odds out yet for that, but we will cover it. We will drop our predictions. We got 12 fights now. All of a sudden, it was 11, so let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it, guys. Kicking us off on this card, the bout order, of course, is subject to change. A welterweight matchup between Evan the Phenom Elder and Darius Beast Mode Flowers. This, of course, matchup is happening on 3 days' notice. Shout out to these dogs for stepping in, man. Evan Elder, Darius Flowers, giving us an extra fight. Why not? I'll take more fights. Evan Elder is 8-2 professionally. Darius Flowers is 12-7. 5'10 to 5'9 gives Evan Elder 1 inch in height. He also has 1 inch in reach, 72 inches to 71. Evan Elder fights in a switch stance, Darius Flowers in an orthodox stance. Let's start with the Phenom. Evan Elder, the 27-year-old from Florida, has 4 KOs and 1 submission of his 8 wins. He's currently 1-2 in the UFC. Lost his first professional bout to Preston Parsons on short notice in 2022. Got out-grappled in that fight, taken out 4 times, faced 5 submission attempts. And then fought in February of 2023, had a fight of the night against Nazim Sadikov. The fight was stopped due to, I believe it was an injury or something in the, right into the 3rd round. Maybe he had a cut or something. But it was an absolute dog. And he picked up his first UFC win last July. So it's been a full year. It's been a full calendar year, almost down to the date, since Evan Elder last fought. And that was a crazy fight against Gennaro Valdez. He, of course, was looking great on the feet. They both dropped each other in round 2, which I found pretty incredible. It's always fun to see when that happens. But Evan Elder, somewhat younger at 27 years old, not too much experience, but in the win column, so that counts. His opponent, Darius Flowers, 29 years old, born in Chicago, Illinois, now fights out of Mason City, Iowa. Of his 12 wins, he has 8 KOs and 1 submission. That's not too bad, 75% finish rate. Of his 7 losses, though, he's been finished 6 times, 5 of those by submission. He actually won on Day One's Contender Series in 2022 by injury, then debuted against Jake Matthews and got submitted in round number 2. Shocker. Last fought in February and got out-grappled to death by Michael Johnson. Taken out 4 times, controlled for 6 minutes. So, short notice. I don't really know what to expect in this one, but Darius Flowers has not really given me much. I understand he's fought Jake Matthews and Michael Johnson, 2 legends of the game. But Evan Elder just kind of strikes me as someone who's going to step in on short notice, take advantage, and get it done. So, Evan Elder, that's our prediction. Do I have a method of victory? I think is a great question. I would love to say a finish. I'd love to say a finish, but it really strikes me as a decision win for Evan Elder personally. Strikes me as a decision win. So, no odds yet for this fight. I can only assume both men are pretty even on the odds, judging that this fight's taking place on 3 days' notice. So, there's that. With that, we move into our next bout of the evening as Josh Fremd takes on Andre Petrovsky in the men's middleweight division. Josh Fremd, 11-5 professionally. Andre Petrovsky, 10-4, pretty even. 6'4" to 6 foot gives Josh 4 inches in height. He also has 3 inches in reach, 76 inches to 73. Orthodox stance for Josh, a little switch stance for Andre Petrovsky. Let's kick it off with Josh Fremd, guys. All right, Josh Fremd, 30 years old, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Of his 11 wins, 4 KOs and 4 submissions. Of his 5 losses, he's been KO'd twice and submitted once. He's actually supposed to have a bout in April, but that was canceled. So Josh Fremd actually hasn't fought since September when he was knocked out by Roman Kopila. But Josh, you know what, 2-3 in the UFC, only been the distance twice. Anthony Hernandez couldn't finish him. Trayshawn Gore then did finish him. Then he actually submitted Cedric Dumas, beat Jamie Pickett, and lost to Roman Kopilov. So Josh Fremd has gotten a little taste of everything in the men's welterweight division. Kind of got brutally head kicked, knocked out back in September, but he's back looking to get a win against another man who's desperately in need of a win. That is Andre Petrovsky, and he's an underdog. Andre is an underdog in this one, plus 105. Josh Fremd is minus 125. And Andre Petrovsky, guys, 33 years old, from Springfield Township, Pennsylvania. This is a little battle of Pennsylvania guys here. 4 KOs and 4 subs as well. All right, so 8 of his 10 wins by finish. These two are so even. Of his 4 losses, 3 of them he's been KO'd in, including his last 2 fights he's been KO'd. Just kind of nasty business. Previously had been on a 5-fight win streak. Wins over, Michael Gilmore, Nick Maximoff, Wellington Turman, Joe Mearshart. But unfortunately, got knocked out by Michelle Pereira in October, and most recently was knocked out by Jacob Malkoun in weird fashion at the end of March. I don't even know what happened. He got knocked out from a hip or something. It was very weird. I did not know what to make of it, but I'm an Andre Petroski fan, so there's a little bias in this one. Josh Fremd does seem to get taken down a lot. I will say that is Andre Petroski's strong suit. Josh Fremd doesn't seem to be the most well-suited on the feet. So when it comes to a ground game matchup, then I'm assuming it will be, I'm taking the underdog at plus 105, Andre Petroski. A little plus 105 action for the underdog, Andre Petroski. Coming up next in the men's, where are we at right now? We're in the women's division. Wow, the entire card has been just shifted on the order of these matchups. So it is what it is. We go to the women's division for a women's flyweight matchup between Luiana Santos and Maria Mashka? What a name. Agapova. Maria Agapova Money Mashka. What a fun nickname right there. Luiana Santos 7-1. Maria Agapova 10-4. Both women are 5'6". 1 inch reach for Maria Agapova, 68 inches, 67. Southpaw stance for Maria Agapova. Orthodox for Luiana Santos. I also stand in the orthodox stance, Luiana Santos. Luiana Santos is a minus 275 favorite as she takes on the plus 225 underdog Maria Agapova. Luiana Santos, 24 years young, on a 4-fight win streak from Brazil. Of her 7 wins, she has 1 KO and 3 submissions. Her 1 loss was by decision. Last August, beat Juliana Miller with a round 1 TKO, and most recently fought in December, beating Stephanie Egger by unanimous decision. Luiana Santos, bit younger, but almost a minus 300 favorite, almost the biggest favorite on the card. She's coming in with a bit of momentum. Her opponent, not so much. Maria Agapova, of course, plus 225, 27 years old, from Kazakhstan, now lives and trains out of Florida. Of her 10 wins, 3 KOs, and 5 submissions. Of her 4 losses, though, she's been finished in 3 of those fights, so not the best. She actually lost her first professional bout to Tracy Cortez, the woman in the main event on Dana White's Contender Series in 2019, would come into the UFC in 2020, get a round 1 submission, then, in a historical moment, became the biggest betting favorite to lose against Shayna Dobson in 2020. It was absolutely historic. She was minus, I don't even know what it was, 4,000, 1,400 or something, and she lost. She got TKO'd in round number 2. It was incredible. Her last win came in 2021 when she got a round 3 rear naked choke. Since then, fought twice in 2022, finished by submission in both of those fights. Now, mind you, Maria Agapova was taking on Marina Moroz and Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson, very talented, and Maria Agapova is actually winning on feet. But when this comes to a ground game, I am probably going to ride with Luiana Santos. She's been more consistent on a little win streak, and Maria Agapova hasn't fought in 2 years, and she hasn't won in 3. That kind of tells me a good deal of what I need to know about Maria Agapova. She's also just not the best fighter. Okay, Luiana Santos on the come up. We're rooting for you. Let's get it done, girl. Alrighty, here's the fight that I thought was opening the card, but I guess it isn't anymore. As Montel Quick Jackson takes on Damon the Monster Blackshear. Wow, what a nasty nickname. Montel Jackson 13-2, Damon Blackshear 14-6-1. Both men are 5'10", 3-inch reach advantage for Montel Jackson, 75 inches at 72. Southpaw with that left hand for Montel. Switch stance for Damon Blackshear. Let's start it off with Damon Blackshear. Damon Blackshear, 29 years old, from North Carolina. Of his 14 wins, he has 2 KOs and 9 submissions. He's actually never been finished in all 6 of his losses. Damon Blackshear, 2-2 with 1 draw in the UFC, so this could make or break his UFC run. And the losses aren't too bad to Farid Basharat and Mario Bautista, both 2 talented bantamweights. His draw was against Yusuf Salal, up in weight at featherweight. And his wins, beat Luian Lacerda last June. Of course he should have. And then hit a twister on Jose Johnson in August of last year. Absolutely incredible. I think the 4th twister. It might have been the 3rd twister of all time. Absolutely incredible work. Damon Blackshear is super talented. I'm happy with his work usually. but it won't be easy going as he takes on the quick boy. That's right, Montel Quick Jackson, 32 years old, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Of his 13 wins, 7 KOs, and 1 submission. Of his 2 losses, both by decision. Currently has had 3 canceled bouts since his last win in April of 2023, but he does ride a 4-fight win streak and is 7-1 in his last 8 bouts. And I mean, he's 8-2 in the UFC. Only losses are to Ricky Simone in 2018 and Brett Johns by controversial decision in 2020. His little win streak has produced knockouts of Jesse Strader, most recently last April over Rene Yaha in a self-performance bonus. He's beaten Julio Arce. I mean, Montel Jackson brings the pain. And in his last 6 fights, this is absolutely incredible, he has 10 knockdowns. 10 knockdowns in his last 6 fights. Let's break it down to his last 4 fights. He has 8 knockdowns, okay? This man has more, I think, knockdowns than he does UFC fights. Montel Jackson brings it. Love him. I think he gets a decision win here. I think Montel Jackson is on the verge of the rankings. He's had so many opportunities, and I just hope he doesn't get injured. Or I hope he doesn't get screwed here, when you finally fight an unranked guy when you should have been fighting ranked guys. He's also a minus 150 favorite. Damon Blackshear plus 125. I will say of all the fights we've listed so far, I really like Damon Blackshear as an underdog, but I personally think Montel Jackson is just much more talented. So as a favorite, I think he's a very safe bet. That's what we're riding with for this matchup. Coming up next in the men's flyweight division, he is one of the most action-packed flyweights on the planet as Joshua Van is back in action as he takes on Charles Johnson. Joshua, the fearless Van, takes on Charles Energy Johnson. And I mean, so many short-notice fights here. So many short-notice fights on this card, and this is just another one of them. Joshua Van, of course, was linked to so many different bouts. I mean, where do we even begin with Joshua Van here? I mean, he's supposed to fight Tatsuro Taira. Then he's supposed to fight Tagir Lembekov. Then he's supposed to fight Alex Perez. I mean, this guy just cannot catch a break. But finally, he gets Charles Johnson. Joshua Van, 10-1. Charles Johnson, 15-6. 5'9" to 5'5" does give Charles 4 inches in height, and he has a notable 5 inches in reach, 70 inches to 65 inches. Switch stance for the Energy Charles, and an orthodox stance for the young Joshua Van. Joshua Van is roughly a year older than me. There's actually a 9-day period where we're the same age. So, I mean, Joshua Van, you're my boy. 22 years old on an 8-fight win streak. Was born in Myanmar, but now lives and trains in Houston, Texas. Of those 10 wins, 6 KOs and 2 submissions. His 1 loss was by submission. So, yeah, Joshua Van, minus 190 favorite. Charles Johnson is a plus 160 underdog. And Joshua Van, 3-fight win streak, 3-0 in the UFC. 8-fight win streak overall, as I mentioned. But, I mean, comes in on short notice against Zalagas Dumulagov. That was back when he was 21 years old, and he won a split decision. Came back in November, beat Kevin Borjas by unanimous decision. Fought on the first card of the year in January. Got a round 2 TKO. Joshua Van is coming in with so much momentum. I mean, they wanted to give this guy the number 5 flyweight in the world right now. Okay, so Joshua Van is coming in with a lot of momentum. He certainly has a lot of hype that comes with that. And we'll see how he takes on Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson's kind of the hype-killing machine, the plus 160 underdog. 33 years old from St. Louis, Missouri. Of his 15 wins, 5 KOs and 4 submissions. Of his 6 losses, he's never been finished. Charles is currently 4-4 in the UFC, but is on a 2-fight win streak. Both of those fights in 2024. Wins over Azat Maksum and Jake Hadley. All right, and the Azat Maksum fight was crazy. He almost got finished in round 1. Fought back to win in round 2 and 3. Incredible. And Charles Johnson's just had the weirdest UFC career. And I mean, this dude cannot grapple for anything. He was taken down 11 times by Cody Durden in a fight and 12 times by Muhammad Mokaev in a fight. Even in his wins, he was taken down. I mean, this dude has been taken down in every single fight except his last win, which was in May. So I'm excited to see what Charles Johnson produces. I mean, he stopped Jimmy Flick, Azat Maksum, Jake Hadley, a lot of these guys, little height trains that they've had, Charles Johnson has shut down as the veteran. He ain't shutting Joshua Van down, let me tell you that. Joshua Van is running roughshod over him, keeping him on the feet, outboxing him. That's the name of the game. I will point out that Charles Johnson, if he is going to beat Joshua Van, it's going to be with takedowns, as funny as it is. So, yeah, look out for those. Please do not get taken down and submitted. I will be very sad, Joshua Van, and you don't want me to be sad. If Joshua Van wins this, give him a ranking and a ranked opponent, please. Next up, we actually have a little ranked action here. As the number 15th ranked Jasmine Jasudavicius takes on the unranked Fatima, the Archangel Klein. On short notice, of course. Viviana Rujo was supposed to be fighting Jasmine Jasudavicius. Viviana Rujo ranked number 10 at women's flyweight, but unfortunately, I have no idea. What transpired. But that fight's off. Of course, Viviana Rujo pulled out. So in steps the undefeated Fatima, the Archangel Klein. Jasmine is 10-3. Fatima is 6-0. 5'7" and 5'6" gives Jasmine 1 inch in height. She also has an inch in reach. 68 inches to 67, and both women are in the orthodox fighting position. Let's kick it off with Fatima, the Archangel Klein, making her UFC debut. 24 years old from New York. She has a BJJ background. Of her 6 wins, she has 2 KOs and 1 submission. She was actually supposed to make her debut in September, and the UFC was like, hey, how would you actually like to fight the number 15th ranked woman flyweight right now? And Fatima was like, sure, I'll fight her. Clearly good at jiu-jitsu. That's kind of what she's known for. She's also younger, on the younger side at 24. Her birthday is actually the 12th, so her birthday is actually a day before this event, so that's pretty cool. But it won't be any easy going for her against Jasmine Jasudavicius. However, she is a minus 130 favorite. That's right. The ranked woman with experience, Jasmine, is a plus 110 underdog. I don't even understand how. 35-year-old from Ontario, Canada, has 2 KOs and 2 submissions. Of her 3 losses, she's never been finished. Her only losses are to Natalia Silva and Tracy Cortez. Natalia Silva ranked number 8. Tracy Cortez ranked number 11. Tracy Cortez, of course, in the main event of UFC Denver off this card, actually. Jasmine, 5-2, or 4-1, 4-2 in the UFC. She was on the Contender Series in 2021. Very talented. All decisions except for her last fight in January, where she got an anaconda choke of Priscilla Cachoeira. Absolutely destroyed Priscilla Cachoeira. Actually, I think she landed 326 significant total strikes to 26. So Jasmine coming in with some momentum. Her 1 loss is to Tracy Cortez since 2022. All right, come on. Jasmine Jasudavicius is going to check the living daylights out of Fatima Klein. I'm feeling a little knockout action. That's right, a little TKO win for Jasmine Jasudavicius. I got to lock all of that in on Verdict MMA. Make sure to follow me on Verdict MMA ZR2002 for all my official UFC predictions that I drop every single week, whenever there's UFC at least. We'll make sure all of those are locked in, but I'm definitely feeling a finish from Jasmine in this matchup, and she keeps her ranked spot. I assume so. I don't know if we're going to have a 6-fight main card or a 5-fight main card, but this fight will either be kicking off the main card or ending the prelims as we head to the men's middleweight division as Abdul Razak Al-Hassan takes on Cody Brundage. Abdul, 12-6. Cody Brundage, 10-6. 6 foot to 5'10", gives Cody 2 inches in height. Abdul does have 1 inch of reach, though. 73 inches, 72. Both men have that right hand going in the orthodox stance. Let's kick it off with Cody Brundage. Cody Brundage, the underdog, plus 130, 30 years old from Colorado. Of those 10 wins, 5 KOs and 3 subs, 80% finish rate. Of his 6 losses, he has been finished 4 times. Cody Brundage has had one of the weirdest UFC careers I've ever seen. Rarely goes the distance, and that, he's only ever been the distance twice in the UFC. Been here since 2021. Got finished in round 1 of the Contender Series. Took a fight against Nick Maximoff in 2021. Got out grappled in that one. Then somehow submitted Dulce Luciambula in 2022. Knocked out Tresean Gore in 2022. And then rounded off 2022 by getting knocked out in round 1. Took a couple months off. Came back in April of 2023. Got submitted in round 2 in a fight he was winning against Rodolfo Vieira. Then was able to out-grapple. He got out-grappled by Cedric Dumas in a fight where he took Cedric down twice and got reversed both times. Very weird. He would then get a DQ win over Jacob Malkoun in September. Come back in December, get a slam finish performance bonus over Zach Reese. And then we get fed to Bo Nickel at UFC 300. So Cody Brundage can say he fought at UFC 300. He can also say he was brutally ripped apart. But Cody Brundage is hit or miss every time he steps in. And it'll be his chin on display as he takes on Abdul Razak Al Hassan, the minus 155 favorite. 38 years old, born in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Well, now I gotta root for you, don't I? Gotta root for him if he's from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Abdul, 12 KOs. All right, all 12 of his wins have been knockouts. That is absolutely absurd. Of his 6 losses, he's been KO'd and subbed once. Abdul's been in the UFC since 2016. Like I said, he's a veteran, man, 38 years old. And I mean, of those wins, of those knockouts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least in the UFC, 5 of them have came in round 1. I mean, some of his losses, a fight of the night to Munir Lazez, Omari Akhmedov, he got out-grappled. Chaos Williams knocked him out in 30 seconds. The only man never knocked him out. Jacob Malkoun out-grappled him. Joaquin Buckley and him had a war takedown striking. And most recently fought in October and did get submitted by Joe Pyfer in round number 2. So, if it's on the feet, Abdul has a chance. If it's on the ground, it's going to Cody Brundage. I know Cody Brundage is going to be hunting for that takedown, but we're feeling spicy, guys. We're feeling spicy. I also don't really like Cody Brundage for no reason. So we're going to pick Abdul Razak Al Hassan to get a knockout. Why not? Why not Abdul Razak Al Hassan? You were born in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I have to pick him, right? I would not be loyal to my fellow Minnesotans if I did not pick him. So Abdul Razak Al Hassan, the man, the myth, the legend. Not really. Good luck. We drop down to the men's featherweight division for our next fight as Julian Juicy J. Erosa takes on the, oh my gosh, talk about a hype train killer, and he's not even a freaking veteran at all. Christian Rodriguez doesn't have a nickname. It should be Hype Killer. Christian, if you need a nickname, Hype Killer. Julian Erosa, 29-12. Christian Rodriguez, 11-1. 6'1" to 5'7" gives Julian 5 inches in height. Scratch that. 6 inches in height. Wow. 6 inches in height. 3 inches in reach as well. 74 inches to 71. Southpaw for Julian Erosa. Orthodox for Christian Rodriguez. Let's kick it off with our good old buddy Julian Juicy J. Erosa. And I mean, plus 175 underdog. All right. 34 years old from Washington. 11 KOs and 13 submissions of his 29 wins. 24 of his 29 wins he's gotten a finish by. Okay, Julian Erosa coming off a big submission win in March over Ricardo Ramos. 2-minute, 15-second guillotine choke. His one weakness, though, of those 12 losses he's had, 7 times he's been knocked out, including of his last 3 fights, knocked out twice in round 1. So, Julian Erosa, hit or miss. Another guy just hit or miss. I mean, so many fights. So many fights, for goodness sakes. This will be, 44, 43 or something? Absolutely incredible. I mean, Julian Erosa taking on Grant Dawson, Torito Ashira, Julio R., Sean Woodson, Nate Landers, Sung Choi, Charles Jourdani holds a win over, Hakeem Delwido holds a win over. He's fought a lot of guys, okay? But you know who he hasn't fought? And that's the man who's actually coming up in weight. That is right. For his second featherweight matchup is Christian. I'm giving him this nickname, Hype Killer Rodriguez. You may be like, Zach, why? Why would Christian Rodriguez be nicknamed Hype Killer? Well, Christian Rodriguez is 26 years old. He's a minus 210 favorite. Born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Of his 11 wins, 3 KOs and 4 submissions. In his last 4 fights, mind you, if we actually include his Dana White's Contender Series fight, which he won, he has beaten an undefeated fighter. I mean, that's seemingly unheard of, right? That has to be unheard of. He has beaten an undefeated fighter in his last 4 fights. I mean, just absolutely incredible. Submitted Joshua Weems, became the first man to beat Raul Rosas Jr., became the first man to beat Cameron Saman, and most recently in March of this year became the first man to beat Isaac Dalgarian. He's killed the hype for all those guys. Now, don't get me wrong, Raul Rosas Jr.'s got it back. Cameron Saman hasn't, and we're yet to see what happens with Isaac Dalgarian. By the way, I don't even think Josh Weems had another fight after that loss, okay? This could be one of those instances where, Christian Rodriguez is good against up-and-comers, not good against veterans. His one loss to Jonathan Pierce, an unranked featherweight legend back in 2022. So that could be a sign right there. But from everything I've seen so far, I'm going to ride with the hype. I'm going to pick Christian Rodriguez. I don't really see a finish here. He hasn't really struck me as a finisher. He's kind of like, I'm either going to grapple you or outbox you. But hey, that's what I think is going to happen. Julian Erosa is also, he was knocked out last year twice. Pretty badly, too. Pretty badly knocked out. Caceres put him out with a head kick, and Fernando Padilla absolutely rattled his brain. Looked like he was thrown around a box of rocks. So there's that. Jumping back up to the welterweight division for our next matchup as Gabriel Marantina Bonfim takes on Ange the Last Ninja Lusa. Very cool. Gabriel Bonfim, the biggest favorite on the card at minus 400, which means your biggest underdog is Angelusa at plus 310. Gabriel Bonfim is 15-1. Angelusa is 10-3 with 1 no contest. 6'1" to 5'10" gives Gabriel 3 inches in height. Angelusa, though, has 2 inches in reach. 74 inches is 72, and both these men will match up nicely in an orthodox stance. Both of them, respectively. Ange Lusa, let's start with this man, 30 years old from Switzerland. Of his 10 wins, 5 KOs and 1 sub, so a 60% finish rate. Of his 3 losses, he's never been finished. Came into the UFC on Danwood's Contender Series, had to fight Jack Della Maddalena, so we're not going to hold that against him. Made his official debut in April of 2022, losing a decision to Munir Lazez. Then was able to pick up wins over AJ Fletcher in August 2022. September 2023, he got a win over Rise McKee in Paris. And had a fight on the co-main event at UFC Vegas 88 this year in March. And unfortunately had a no contest against Brian Battle. I think he got eye poked or something, and it wasn't that bad, and he couldn't continue. Brian Battle was pretty pissed about it. Some bad blood there. So what happens when a guy kind of gets a fight stopped prematurely, ends as a no contest? He gets fed to a killer, and Gabriel Bonfim is an absolute killer. Gabriel Bonfim is unfair, okay? 26 years old from Brazil. He has 15 wins. He has 15 finishes, including 2 round 1 guillotine chokes in 49 seconds and in 1 minute 13 seconds. Okay, this guy is incredible. His Dana White's Contender Series win was a 4-minute Von Flue finish of Trey Waters. However, he was fraud checked. He was brutally fraud checked in the fight of the night last November when Nicholas Dalby shockingly finished him at the end of round 2. Gabriel dominated him in round 1, almost submitted him, but Dalby withered the storm. Gabriel got gassed, got TKO'd, and that was that. So Bonfim, huge bounce back opportunity here. Angelus has never been finished. He also was rarely taken down. By the way, he's only ever gotten 3 KOs. But, I mean, Gabriel Bonfim is just too fun not to pick. We're going to ride with him until we can't ride with him no more. His brother, Ishmael Bonfim, another fun fighter. Plus, he's the biggest favorite for a reason. It is fun to pick underdogs like Angelusa, but Ange kind of was getting beat up by Brian Battle our last time out. If that's happening, goodness knows what Gabriel Bonfim will do to him. So, Gabriel Bonfim by round 1 finish. Why not go for a submission? He has 12 of them. I mean, dude is legit. Dude has some incredible Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was about to say black Jiu-Jitsu. I don't think that's a thing. Heading to the men's lightweight division for our third to last fight. This should be the co-main event. I have no idea why it isn't the co-main event. As the hometown boy of Denver, Colorado, there's literally only 2 people on this card actually from frickin' Colorado. Actually 3. Cody Brundage is actually from Colorado, which is kind of funny that I didn't pick him, but that's a whole different point. Actually, I feel like I should have picked him against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, but we can't go back now. That's right. Drew Dober takes on Gene Silva. Drew Dober, 27-13 with 1 no contest. This will be his 42nd professional bout. He takes on Gene Lord Silva, 13-2, who is stepping in on 2 weeks' notice. He just got a knockout win at UFC 303. He's already back. 5'8" to 5'7" gives Drew 1 inch in height. He also has 1 inch in reach, 70 inches to 69. Southpaw stance for Drew. Orthodox for Gene Lord Silva. Incredible that Gene Silva is even going to make weight for this bout. I think that is certainly an aspect I'm taking into account, is that he'll be cutting weight again, and it's going to be painful. But both of these men, minus 110 favorites. There is no underdog in this matchup. Drew Dober, where to begin? 35 years old, of course, from Denver. Of those 20, where is it at now? Absolutely lost Drew Dober's name. Of those 27 wins, he has 20 finishes, 11 KOs, and 9 submissions. Of those 13 losses, though, twice he's been KO'd, 4 times he's been submitted. So he's a live by the sword, die by the sword type of guy. And Drew Dober's been in the UFC since 2013. Okay, he has been around a long, long time. And he still looks young. I mean, dude has amazing genetics, and he makes 35 look good. Let me tell you that. I mean, Drew Dober, where do we begin? Fought in Scott Holtman, fought in Oliver Aubin Mercier, he's fought in Frank Camacho, Benil Dariush, Nazareth Kakpasarat, Alexander Hernandez. I mean, he's a jack of all trades. He's fought in Islam Makhachev. He actually took Islam Makhachev to round number 3. Cool enough. He's had Fight of the Nights against Brad Riddell, Fight of the Nights against Bobby Green. He's knocked out Rafael Alves, Terrence McKinney, Ricky Glenn. Most recently, though, in May of last year, got knocked out by Matt Frivola, and in February, he did lose a decision to Renato Moicano. Got brutally outgrappled in a fight where he clearly was better on the feet. So, Drew Dober is coming in off a 1 loss. Dude is fighting in his hometown of Denver, Colorado. He's well rested. He's ready to go. And I'll say I was leading Gene Silva all week, but I think we're going to ride with Drew Dober. Gene Silva is 27 years old from Brazil on a 10-fight winning streak. 12 finishes of his 13 wins, 10 KOs, and 2 submissions. He's also never been finished in those 2 losses. He's coming to the UFC, gotten 2 crazy knockouts of Weston Wilson, and most recently Charles Jourdain 2 weeks ago. But the weight cut is going to be what does Gene Silva in here. Cutting weight twice to 155 in 2 weeks is not going to sit well with him. Drew Dober's going to pick him apart, going to get a knockout, and I have to pick one person from Denver. Goodness me, I can't go against every single person from Denver on this card, not to spoil my main event pick, but if I'm not picking Cody Brundage, I got to ride with Drew Dober. However, if Gene Silva wins, I will be kind of hyped, because I could do kind of ride with Gene Silva, but this is just, it's a big gamble, big gamble against a knockout artist like Drew Dober stepping in on 2 weeks' notice, so there's that. And with that, guys, we get to our co-main event of the evening. And maybe ask yourself, Zach, what is this absolutely electric co-main event that I get to witness? Who are these young up-and-comers? Who are these top 15 guys? And let me tell you, you're going to witness a co-main event between 2 welterweights, Santiago, the Argentine Dagger Ponzinibbio, and Muslim King of Kung Fu Salikov, who are both respectively 37 and 40 years old. Yeah, we got 2 old heads fighting in the co-main event, 2 unranked welterweights. Wow. Just wow. Santiago Ponzinibbio 30-7. Muslim Salikov 19-5. 6 foot to 5'11" gives Santiago 1 inch in height. He also has 3 inches in reach, 73 inches to 70. Both men stand in the orthodox fighting position. Let's start with the Argentine Dagger, Santiago Ponzinibbio, minus 200 favorite. The 37-year-old is from Argentina, of course. Of his 30 wins, 16 KOs and 6 submissions. Of his 7 losses, he's been KO'd 4 times. Now, Santiago was crazy back in the day. Back when he was a young buck, right about 7 years ago. Dude, he was on an 8-fight win streak. He had knockout wins of Neil Magny, Gunnar Nelson, Court McGee. I mean, he had a win over Mike Perry. Dude was on fire, but then took 3 years off. Dealt with some injuries, dealt with some stuff. Came back in 2021, gets knocked out by Li Jingliang. Okay, gets knocked out by Li Jingliang. But then bounces back in June of 2021. Fight of the night comeback against Michael Beza. Humbled him. Then lost back-to-back split decisions where he should have won against Jeff Neal and Michel Pereira. 2 legit guys, okay? Then had a crazy comeback in December of 2022, knocking out Alex Morono in round 3 when he was down 2 rounds. Crazy comeback. But then got brutally knocked out last April by Kevin Holland in 2023 at UFC 287. He's been linked to a couple fights, none of which have came to fruition, but Santiago Ponzinibbio, his chin has had a year to rest. You know, he's obviously past his prime. He's 2-4 in his last 6 bouts. But don't forget, this man still packs a punch. But as much as the Argentine Dagger is looking to stab his way to victory, there's a man looking to use the old Cobra Kai method of Kung Fu. Or no, I was thinking of Kung Fu Panda. Karate is what Cobra Kai does. But yes, Muslim Salikhov, the plus 165 underdog. As much as he's an underdog, he's an old underdog. 40 years old from Russia. Of his 19 wins, 12 KOs and 3 submissions. Wow, 15 of 19 wins. He's gotten a finish in. Now of his 5 losses, he's been finished 4 times. Muslim Salikhov, another one. Been in the UFC a long time. At one point was on a 5-fight win streak, including a win over Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos and Francisco Trinaldo. Before, lo and behold, being knocked out by Li Jingliang in round 2. Why does Li Jingliang hate old welterweight veterans? That makes no sense. Last win came in November of 2022, where he had a round 3 head kick knockout of Andre Filo. In June of last year, lost to Nicholas Dalby. And most recently in February, got knocked out by Randy Brown in 3 minutes. Muslim, back at it, looking to get it done. But we got to ride with the Argentina dagger. We got to ride with Santiago Ponzinibbio. I have not been able to pick him for so long. There's just been no way he's been winning any of these matchups. But Santiago is being officially predicted here, and I think we're going to see the old Argentinian power, the way he face-planted Neil Magny off the cage. That's right, we're going with a little round 3 knockout. Santiago getting back to it, and as much as Santiago was knocked out back in April of last year, Muslim was just knocked out in February. So I mean, his chin has had 0 time to recover. So we'll see what happens. But Santiago Ponzinibbio, I am rooting for you in your future matchup. And with that, guys, that'll bring us to our main event. It is as star-studded as one could expect, as the number 6 ranked women's flyweight, Rose Namajunas, takes on the number 11 ranked women's flyweight, Tracy Cortez. It was supposed to be the number 4 ranked Macy Barber, but Macy Barber decided to go and get hurt or something. So Tracy Cortez stepping in on short notice. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tracy. Tracy, you've got it going on, we could say. Thug Rose Namajunas is 13-6. Tracy Cortez is 11-1. Both women are 5'5". Both women are 6'5", and I have a 65-inch reach, and both are staying in the orthodox position. I mean, these two are dead even. My goodness, they're so similar. It's kind of eerie. If you ask me. Let's kick it off with the underdog, the plus 180, stepping in on short notice, Tracy Cortez. Tracy Cortez, I mean, come on, probably the most attractive UFC fighter out there. The ex of Brian Ortega, might I add. Or maybe Brian Ortega is her ex, however you want to put it. 30 years old from Arizona, currently on an 11-fight win streak. That's right, she dropped her first professional fight to Jen Bishop back in 2017. Since then, yet to lose. I won't lie, of those 11 wins, only 1 KO and 1 sub. So far, all of her UFC wins have been by decision. She was actually supposed to fight Miranda Maverick on the 20th, but they bumped her up. So, great opportunity here for Tracy Cortez. Of her 5 fights so far, I mean, we've seen her have some success in grappling, some success on the feet. She's coming off a win over Jasmine Jasudavicius back in September. This is a huge jump up in competition. There's really no chance she should win. But Rose Namajunas, I just don't like Rose Namajunas' style. She's so boring. She is so boring. It came out of nowhere, her being boring too. Minus 225 favorite. 32 years old from Colorado. Of those 13 wins, 2 KOs and 5 subs. Of her 6 losses, she's been KO'd and subbed once. Rose Namajunas, been around since 2014. Of course, she's lost on the final, The Ultimate Fighter. Shields wins over Angela Hill, Paige Van Zandt, Tisha Pennington. Fight of the nights against Karolina Kowalski, beaten Michelle Warson Gomez. She knocked out Joanna Jędrzejczyk for the Women's Strawweight Championship, then beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk in the rematch. She's had a fight of the night loss to Jessica Andrade. She's then rematched Jessica Andrade and won in a fight of the night. She then had a head kick finish of Zhang Weili, and then out of nowhere, after that second Zhang Weili fight, has just had the most boring fight. She put on the most boring fight of all time against Carla Esparza. It is regarded as the worst fight of all time. Took place at UFC 274, co-main event, May 7th, 2022. The worst fight of all time. Rose Namajunas was part of that. After that, came back in September of 2023, lost to Manfiora, did nothing over 3 rounds. And then fought on the Apex in a main event against Amanda Hebes back in March. Predicted her to win that. She won a boring decision. So just for excitement factor, we're going to pick Tracy Cortez because I feel like it's obvious, Rose Namajunas, this is her hometown crowd. She's much more talented. Tracy Cortez is taking this on short notice. This is a step down in competition for Rose Namajunas. But these are the opportunities we live for as MMA fans when we don't care about something. So you got to pick the underdog. Tracy Cortez plus 180. Look, and if she wins, give her the title shot. I mean, come on, give her the title shot at the Sphere against Alexa Grasso. That's what I'll be rooting for. A little round 5 knockout from Tracy Cortez at the buzzer to shock everyone. Other than that, I'm sensing a boring Rose Namajunas decision. Tracy Cortez, save us from it. Save us from it. So, to recap our predictions, we got Montel Jackson over Damon Blackshear, Evan Elder over Darius Flowers, a notable plus 105 underdog, Andre Petrosky over Josh Fremd, Luiana Santos over Maria Agapova by submission, Joshua Van over Charles Johnson by maybe a little TKO. I accidentally highlighted Fatima Klein when I meant to highlight Jasmine Jasudavicius. We know, guys, what happens when I accidentally highlight people on my sheet. Of course, I highlight all my predictions on paper. I'm super high-tech. But we're switching that now. We're going with Jasmine Jasudavicius at plus 110. Abdul Rakal Hassan, we're going to pick him to knock out Cody Brundage. Don't really feel too confident about that, but he's born in Minnesota. We got to ride with him. Christian Rodriguez at minus 210, we're riding with him. Biggest favorite on the card, Gabriel Bonfim, we're going with him. Drew Dober, we're picking him. Santiago Ponzinibbio, a little knockout from him. And Tracy Cortez to round us out, a little underdog action. Hey, when a card like this has no hype, no one expects anything, maybe these are the ones where stars shine through and we see some amazing, amazing work. But that's all we got, guys. That's all we got for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it. Getting back into the rhythm. We should be back after this week. We should be back to 2 episodes every week. We're going to be trying to work at that. It's not so easy. When I work an internship 8 to 5, I'm in the morning and I wake up at 4:30 and go to the gym. My Wi-Fi is so terrible. I can't upload at home. I have to upload at the library. Library's only open Monday to Thursday until 8. I mean, there's a lot of outside factors, but we put through a lot of work to bring you even a verbal episode. Trust me, I really want to work towards filming myself, putting some clips out there on the internet, really growing this thing. But thank you guys so much. Have an amazing week. Have an amazing day whenever you're listening to this. And remember to be a badass every single day. And guess what? I will catch you next time on the Surprise Jab Podcast.